Fired up footballers, welcome back to another episode of Spitting Previews. Jeffrey and James here with you as always. And today we're going to do a preview of the upcoming match, Chicago Fire at New York Red Bulls. James, I believe you are starting off with the bio.
Yes, the match is April 21st this Saturday, and the bio for the Red Bulls, New York. So Chicago Fire headed down the Jersey Turnpike to New York Red Bulls, probably wondering why Jersey's involved at all, but so are the fans because they apparently can't find the stadium for the New York Red Bulls. Red Bull Arena, great-looking stadium, but they're having attendance issues. So that's one significant thing with going on with Red Bull New York. They've lost Sasha Klestin, one of their key playmakers on the right side, gone. They lost a central defensive midfielder in Felipe, but he was kind of behind Davis and Adams, their two main guys right now. Anyway, and they were able to flip him for Tim Parker, pretty solid center back from I believe Vancouver. Correct me if I'm wrong. The last thing to note about two other things to note about these guys. They got a really good Red Bull New York feeder team. I believe they're either in USL. I think they're in USL. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Red Bull New York, too, what they have been doing very successfully is they'll pilfer offcasts from other MLS clubs. Maybe they don't have the room, or maybe they just don't think that they're going to have potential. Like a Joey Calistri? Like a Joey Calistri type. And what they'll do is they'll stick them onto their feeder team, and because they directly control their feeder team, they get the playing time, they get the development, and they're getting like the...
That's really nice.
They're also getting played in the style that the coach would want them to play. So, I mean, that lends to making it easier for these players to ascend to the next level when they get to stay in the tactically the same system. So Red Bulls New York has seen a lot of success from their youth.
Imagine it sending Macaro, Adams, Daniel Johnson. I mean, that would be interesting to actually have as team. If we sent them, they would play all the minutes.
And actually get minutes.
Unlike Stephen Cleveland right now.
I did see Stephen Cleveland and Baccaro get tweeted out by Tulsa Roughnecks saying that they are going to be available for a game tonight, I believe. So that is going to be intriguing to see if they will, in fact, play.
All right, where are we going next?
We'll move on to the next. So let's look into the form for... one last thing about Red Bull New York. They were CONCACAF. They were one of our representatives in the CONCACAF Champions League. They actually ended up losing to Vancouver in early March and got knocked out, but decent run up until then. And plus, when the MLS teams are playing games in early March, that's the start of our season, or we haven't even started yet, so it's hard to get ready and hard to really be invested in that type of competition when you're not really playing at your best football, and you're actually just starting. Yep. So that's about sums up on the bio and Red Bull. What's their form last 5 games?
So I believe they have a total of 9 out of 15 points. I have it up here in front of me. So here is their form. Their last game, they beat the Montreal Impact 3-1. Okay, they lost to Orlando 3-4. After that, they beat Minnesota 3-0. Following that, lost 0-1 to Real Salt Lake. And then their home opener, they beat Portland 4-0. So
one thing you'll notice,
that's a lot of goals. That's a lot of goals. They're averaging, they've one game, they've been shut out one game, and then the other games they've scored 3 and 4 goals. So that spells some trouble for us.
They are defensive stalwarts and offensive juggernauts in the fullest sense of the word. Right now, some power rankings have them ranked 3rd in MLS, despite the fact they're sitting 6th in the MLS East conference right now with 6 points. But because of their firepower up top with the Bradley Wright Phillips and a new guy named Kaku, he's an Argentinian playmaker named Kaku Gamaro, and they just started getting him in there. Apparently, they're very tactically rigid. Jesse March is the coach. He runs a very tactically rigid system, but they've been allowing him, Kaku is the number 10, a lot of freedom to move where he needs to be. And that's been creating things, and so they have.
Overall, it seems like it's gonna be a battle.
That's gonna be.
The run of games that the Fire have been running into. The Crew. We just saw the Galaxy. Now we have the Red Bulls. Then we have Atlanta, not too far behind. The Fire really are playing some offensive juggernauts here, and in New York, they look like no different. So,
something even interesting. The Red Bull have either lost a game by only 1 goal, or they've won all the other games by 2 or more. So it's almost not. It's almost feast or famine.
Teams. Yeah, 2 different teams there.
But what you get is a super hard team to break down defensively. From an offensive standpoint for us, and a team that also could score on you on the counter or in the ways that they do. Jesse March
and they're playing at home.
And they're playing at home.
Play better at home, and we
even though they might not have the attendance.
The Chicago Fire woes on the away games. So I mean, on the away side of things, so it will be a struggle. This will be a tough game. We'll definitely see what Pano comes out with. Will he come out with the 3 in the back system? Maybe defend. Work on focus on their offensive firepower a little bit more.
Yeah.
Or are we going to come out swinging? Is Pano going to put out a lineup there that can attack? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if Pano goes, are we going to defend or are we going to try and attack?
It's going to be a question because we are going to be dealing with striker Bradley Wright Phillips, who's constantly at the top of the MLS leaderboards for goals ever since he's arrived from championship. Tim Parker, we already mentioned, powerful center back. Tyler Adams, one of their U.S. men's national team center mids, who's probably not long for MLS if he keeps playing lights out like he has been. He's
been playing well.
He's been playing very well, the U.S. men's national team is very excited for his ascendance. And they have goalkeeper old buddy Luis Robles, a friend of Dax McCarty's. No more Sasha Kleshchin, as previously mentioned. No more of the teeth of Felipe, if some of you know the dirtiness of Felipe. No more worry about him. And, that's what we're going to be going and dealing with here. Plus offense, plus defense. Fire, probably minus defense, minus offense. So we're running into another problem here. It's going to be hard. What is your prediction for the match? Scoreline.
Again, I hate going against my team here, my Chicago Fire, but I'm going to say they take an L. I'm going to say 3-2. New York wins. Like we said, New York can score goals.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one game they were shut out. The rest they were scoring 3-4 goals.
Yeah.
So I do think the Fire fixed a lot of their defensive woes, but again, they're playing at home. We struggle at home. They have some class. I think we might struggle with that. But at the same time, I think we're due for a couple goals. I think Nico's good for one. Someone else has to score. So I'm only really, the reason I think they're going to score 2 goals is I think Nico's due, and then someone else on this team is due. Someone's got to score.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned defensively because we've been lucky enough to run against teams that weren't in form finishing-wise. These guys are in form finishing-wise. Clearly, when they have some of the most goals scored in MLS at the current. And so the Fire might not get so lucky where they're missing those shots before, and now they're going to be making them on this Saturday. So that's one thing I do have concern. You're not going to be hitting the
crossbars is what James is trying to say.
3 times in a row. I mean, that didn't happen. But I predict a 3-1 scoreline for Red Bull New York. I don't know how the Fire are really going to score.
It's hard. It's like if they had a better offense. I mean, like we're not trying to knock their defense, but I mean, if you don't have a good enough offense, I mean, and you're defending, if you're defending 90 minutes, you're going to give up goals.
Yeah.
So
one last thing that I'll talk about, though, I heard on TalkSport, they were talking about going against a 4-man back line, and if you have a 3-man back line, the 4-man back line, the team running that has to play a much narrower squad.
Okay.
So if we do see the Fire deploy a 3-man back line, and we see New York go narrow, it's not going to probably be good for the Fire. If we can get them to spread out, and if we do see the 3 in the back, maybe with Basti in the back again. I hope not. But I
wouldn't be surprised.
It might be a recipe for disaster. So we'll see how it goes, though.
We'll see.
And either way, excited. Hopefully, it's the result we want, and we'll end it there, guys. Have a great weekend. Go Fire.
Go Fire.
And that'll be the plan.
Ooh.